Hey, just want to say this video is inspired by a tweet from GWA that I saw a few weeks back, saying that the music for Chaos Island Act 1 actually isn't that bad when you're actually playing the game instead of just listening to it completely isolated. And honestly, I agree. I think it's so cool what they did with the atmospheric track from the original game in Frontiers, trying to make it more of a linear track for an action game. I'm gonna let the edits play, and I'll get back to you after.
Prepare to die.
Now, the main thing that really inspires me to make this video is, I feel like since the beginning, since the initial reveal of Shadow Generations, we've already had a very good feel for how this game is going to play, and what the future of Sonic games, and what the future of playable characters in Sonic games is going to be like. The future of every character's moveset is going to be based off of boosts from now on. I feel like we kind of expected this to happen in the 2010s era, but we didn't really get there. But yeah, I think it's pretty safe to assume that, for the most part, Shadow's physics physics and movesets are going to be a clone of Sonic's moveset in Frontiers, probably with better physics than Cyberspace. Obviously, there's a lot of VFX and everything that's completely changed up. Shadow has different combat capabilities, but a lot of his combat stuff does reuse, like, simple frames from Sonic Frontiers. I just thought it's very fascinating that they're willing to reuse a lot of stuff from Frontiers for this game, and not a lot of people seem to have an issue with it, myself included. Usually people don't like when they reuse assets, but this is a case where they're kind of taking what they already made and making an even better game than the last with it all. And since they're literally one for one just putting Chaos Island in Shadow Generations, this is the experience right here, isn't it? Frontiers physics, Frontiers moveset, Shadow animations, model, effects. I even got his Chaos Blast as a modded move. When Shadow Generations was first announced, I tried coping by playing the Shadow mod in Sonic Generations, but I think the best way to do it is by doing it in Frontiers now. Again, like, this experiment was so easy to do because you can see in the Shadow Generations trailer, all of the platforms on Chaos Island aren't the metal ones that were criticized in Sonic Frontiers. They're more rocky, like the Ancient Stone, which is very similar to the Platforms Reimagined mod for Frontiers. I put a bunch of custom animations in here from a bunch of different people. The included animation mods will be in the description. The biggest one I used was Reanimated Frontiers by Mello. Of course, I had to use the Shadow Frontiers menu screen as well. That one is also specifically posing in front of Chaos Island, so that was perfect. It's cool because a lot of the platforming segments in Generations rendition of Chaos Island looks like they are fairly original, but a lot of these locations are incredibly memorable, just directly taken from the actual Frontiers map with the Death Egg robot in the inside of the temple. And not only that, but of course they're reusing the actual enemy types. These aren't Eggman Badniks, they're using the weird alien spinner guys and the soldiers, and they have the blue and pink springs and dash rings and all that kind of stuff. So I really didn't have to change much at all. I also had the mod that lets you damage things with your boost, because strangely that's not a thing you could do in vanilla Frontiers. They added it as like a weird power-up in the DLC. But of course that's a thing you can do in Shadow Generations, so it felt right to have that. All of this would be so much harder if there wasn't the Island Rush mod, which replaces the Battle Rush with every platforming segment from the islands. Well, this isn't every platforming segment. There's a lot of platforming segments in Chaos Island, so this is just the handful of really good ones, especially the 3D ones. But yeah, long story short, this is an experiment that I wanted to try for a while. I'm glad I got to do it. I wanted to try something new and just do a classic gameplay montage, similar to the Sonic one I did for the Tower Climb in the Reanimated Frontiers video a while back. You best bet that I'm going to be making some Shadow montages when Sonic X Shadow comes out. And if you're new here, consider checking out the modding playlist. That's the bulk of the Sonic stuff I make.